Welcome, one and all, to episode number 4 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony back with you. Episode number 4, while the National League Championship Series is going on. Game 5 right now, and it looks like the Dodgers are going to pull this one out to force a Game 6 tomorrow. We were hoping that the Braves would win tonight and the Bucks. The Rays would win tonight to force a Rays versus Brave series, like I told you last week was going to happen. But the Dodgers and the Astros both had other ideas, and it all started with the Astros earlier tonight, who, got to give them credit, they came back from three games to 0 down, and they forced a Game 7 tomorrow, and there's nothing in sports like a Game 7. So tomorrow should be really cool watching the Rays and Astros get after it in Game 7. The Dodgers pretty much look dead in the water, but they exploded against the Braves bullpen tonight. And the Braves bullpen has been unbelievable. But they gave it up in the 6th inning, and then the Dodgers tacked on some more in the 7th, and they're up 7-2 right now in the 8th, so this game's pretty much done. Dodgers will win, and it will be Game 6 tomorrow, and the Dodgers must win tomorrow, and Game 7 would be Sunday. So anyway, we still like the Rays, we still like the Braves, and we're going to stick with it. And like I told you, since the start of it all, we got the Braves winning the whole thing. So check back here on next Friday. I'm going to give you programming notes real quick, actually, because if you're catching this video because you subscribe to the video and you like our picks, then great, that's awesome, right? Keep checking us out every Friday night or Saturday morning. They'll go up and you can stay up to date on what's going on. If you're catching us on the link from the Grease is the Word newsletter, then that's great too, but this might be a couple days behind for you. So if you like the video, though, go ahead and hit subscribe, and you'll be notified this coming Friday for another video. So just keep all that in mind. So anyway, that's it for the LCSs. I'll have another video up next Friday. It'll be in the middle of the World Series, but again, keep in mind, we've got the Rays, we've got the Braves, and we've got the Braves winning it all. So those are our picks there. Now, let's move on to NCAA picks for tomorrow, Saturday. Big games going on, and we're still a couple weeks away from Big Ten and Pac-12 both joining the fray of NCAA football, but there's lots of good games in action, and here's who we like. Starting with Pitt, plus 13. We're going to take the Panthers, plus 13 at Miami. Miami was exposed last week. They're a good football team. They're improving, and we like what they're doing down there, but they were thoroughly exposed by Clemson, who pretty much exposes everybody. And Pitt has lost 2 games by 1 point. And Pitt has had a good year. Pitt's a good team. So giving them 13 points to us just does not make any sense. Roll with the Panthers. Take the points. Game 2, we like Auburn. Going on the road at USC, yes. Down here in the South, USC is the University of South Carolina, not the one down in Los Angeles. Auburn -3 at South Carolina. Auburn is 2-1, and a case could be made that they should be 0-3. They got very, very generous calls in both their wins, and especially last week where they were dead in the water against Arkansas. And they got a really, really fortunate call on an intentional grounding, which should have been called a fumble. Anyway, we like Auburn. South Carolina's still struggling. Lay the 3 at USC and take Auburn. Game 3, we like Ole Miss -1.5 at Arkansas. Now again, Arkansas still feels like they got robbed against Auburn. They're 1-2. They could they should be 2-1. And Ole Miss is also 1-2. But the way Ole Miss hung with Alabama last week, and Lane Kiffin really showed his mettle as an offensive coordinator and a offensive guru, pretty much, putting up big numbers against Alabama's defense. We're going to think that Mississippi's offense is going to continue more of that against Arkansas, and Arkansas just won't be able to keep up. So that's Ole Miss -1.5 at Arkansas. Game 4, we're going to stick with the Mississippi schools, and we're going to roll with Mike Leach and Mississippi State +5. They're at home. They're in Starkville, and they're hosting Texas A&M, who's coming off a huge win last week, which we gave you, by the way, in our 7-0 week, by the way, which we also haven't mentioned yet. Yes, we did go 7-0 in college football last week. A&M's coming off a huge win over Florida, but now they have to travel down to Starkville, where it's never easy. Stark, Vegas, right? There will be cowbells there. I don't know. I mean, there won't be 90,000 of them, but they'll be there and they'll be loud. And Mississippi State, aside from some really bad luck with turnovers, that's cost them some wins. And they're 1-2, but that doesn't really tell the story of what's going on in Mississippi State. We've always liked Mike Leach. Mike Leach is the man, another offensive guru. We're going to stick with Leach, and we're going to take the 5 at home. You know, home dogs, can't beat them. Anyway, game number 5 is Virginia Tech. We're going to go to the ACC, and we're going to lay the points. Virginia Tech's at home in Blacksburg. They're laying 13 against Boston College. Boston College is playing well. They're 3-1, but they've been on the fortunate end of a lot of good things that have happened. Virginia Tech played well against North Carolina until North Carolina just, pulled ahead, because North Carolina's offense is really, really legit. And anyway, Virginia Tech stuck with them. Virginia Tech can score. Virginia Tech should be able to score easily, and we don't see Boston College scoring into the 30s in this game, because Va Tech is going to score into the 40s, especially in Blacksburg. So that's game 5, and the last game, the last game on our docket is actually a twofer. It's the big one. It's the big game on the board tomorrow. It's Alabama versus Georgia, and yes, they're playing in Tuscaloosa, and the story all week has been Nick Saban's health. Yes, he tested positive for COVID-19, but then yesterday he tested negative. They're saying if he tests negative again tomorrow, that there is a chance that he could be able to lead his team into battle. We don't know whether he's going to coach or not, and the line has jumped back and forth. It was at 6. Then when Saban was positive, it went all the way down to 4. Some markets were even selling it at 3.5. Now it's all the way back up to 5, because he might be there. Alabama's offense right now is just playing on another level, and they're going to have to, because Georgia's defense is also playing on another level. This is number 2 versus number 3 as far as rankings go, but offense, number 1 offense versus number 1 defense, you don't get to see this very much. Now, 9 times out of 10, I'll take the defense in these kind of matchups, but that's usually in a playoff type setting or a bowl game or something of that nature. In this game, it's still the regular season. It's still Alabama. If Saban has anything to do with it, he's going to continue. He's 21-0 against former assistants. And this game is laid out for Kirby Smart to finally get his first win, and for all the assistants, former Saban assistants who've been crushed in the past. I just don't see this one lasting. I think Alabama's still the better team, and I think Alabama wins easier than most people think. So roll with the tide, lay the 5, and we'll dance from there. And then finally, we like the under in this game with a really high total set at 58.5 because of the amount of scoring that we've seen lately in the SEC. But the odds makers know what they're doing. They're certainly no fools, and they've pretty much caught up with the betting public. And 58.5 is a large number against Georgia's defense, which is really legit, and Alabama's defense, which is always good, but it hasn't been that good this year. I don't see Georgia going in there and scoring into the 40s, certainly not on the road. Stetson Bennett, I mean, how much more can this guy do? He's a walk-on, and now he's going. People that are backing Georgia are expecting him to go into Tuscaloosa and leave with a win. Not yet. Bennett, you'll have your time, but not tomorrow. So those are our picks for NCAA. Pitt plus 13, Auburn minus 3, Ole Miss minus 1.5, Mississippi State plus 5, Virginia Tech minus 13, Alabama minus 5, and Alabama, Georgia under 58.5. So those are your NCAA plays. Now, also on Saturday, we got a big fight. All right. Lomachenko and Lopez are getting after it in Las Vegas. And this is, I mean, if you're into boxing in any way, this is a really good one. Lomachenko is widely regarded as the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world right now. They both had the weigh-in or actually yesterday, and they weighed in at right at 135, and fists are going to be flying, and Lopez is the knockout artist. And here's the thing. I really like both these fighters a lot. I really like Lopez. I like what he's doing. I like everything about him. I love the way he fights. I love his enthusiasm and his aggression. And how can you not love his right hand? The thing is, he's up against the immovable object tomorrow. And if you remember Floyd Mayweather against Canelo Alvarez, just think about how hot Alvarez was going into that fight, and he just couldn't get off any punches against the superior defense. And that's what Loma has in his pocket, because there's a Loma that just doesn't have any weaknesses. And Loma, what he does is he wears you down and wears you down and wears you down until you do something stupid, and then he catches you. So we like Loma in this fight, but the problem is he's minus 440, and that's a big number to lay, right? All the value on this is in Lopez's corner at plus 350. So if you want to take a flyer, right, take a smaller bet on Lopez and hope he gets the win. If he does get the win, it's going to have to be by knockout, and I could see it happening. But I don't see it happening. I think Loma wins this fight, and my bet of the night is the under 10.5, which is the ring round total, and I don't see it going the distance because, again, we see Loma wearing down Lopez, and Lopez getting frustrated by like the 6th or 7th or 8th round, when Loma's already racked up 5 or 6 or 7 rounds in his back pocket. Lopez is going to get frustrated, and he's going to try to go for the knockout, and he's going to get caught. So we have Loma by TKO in 9 is our prediction for the fight. So if you want to play the fight tomorrow night, then go ahead and get after it. Finally, our NFL plays for the week. We've got 7 of them, just like last week. Let's hope we do better than we did last week. Went 3-4, not too good. So here we go. This Sunday, we're going to start with Houston plus 3.5 on the road at Tennessee. Yes, I live in Tennessee. I live 10 minutes away from Nissan Stadium, and everybody here is fired up about Tennessee and coming off their big win over Buffalo on Tuesday night, but coming off a short week. They had a lot more to play for against Buffalo. Yes, Houston is an in-division rival who has been beating up on Tennessee the last couple of years. This would be a perfect opportunity for Tennessee to go 5-0 and set up a great matchup against possibly the undefeated Steelers in the following week. But they can't look ahead to that. They've got to concentrate, and we just see Houston. We'll take the 3.5, and that half point could loom large, because if Tennessee wins by a field goal, then we're the winners. So we'll take Houston plus 3.5. and go with that. In the second game, we like the Vikings at home -4.5 against Atlanta. Listen, the Falcons are a mess. They finally fired Dan Quinn. They finally fired the general manager. They need to just fire everybody. It's a total dumpster fire down there. And Minnesota, yes, they're 1-4 and not playing well. Or actually, they are playing well, but they're 1-4. That's not going to last. They're at home. Skol, SKOL, Skol. Minnesota wins -4. Probably 24-14 or 27-13, somewhere around there, but they win it pretty easily. Take the Vikes. Game 3, we like the Steelers at home, -3.5 in a big matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland's 4-1, and they're not feeling any pain. They've won 4 in a row. They're running the ball well. Myles Garrett is just a monster who right now is the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Sorry, Aaron Donald. Sorry, Aaron Donald. But Myles Garrett is that good, and he's been dominating, and he's going to have his sights set on Ben Roethlisberger. But this is still the Steelers. These are still the Browns. And no matter how many times you look at it, when's the last time Cleveland has beaten Pittsburgh? It just doesn't happen. We're going to take the Steelers, especially at home at Heinz Field, laying 3.5. Doesn't matter. Steelers win this one, and they win it they win it easier than most people would think. Anyway, game 4, we like Carolina -1 at home against the Bears. The Bears are frauds, period. End of story. They're 4-1, and they're probably the worst 4-1 team in the history of the NFL. They went through a quarterback change while they were undefeated. Try to figure that one out, and they just get the breaks. I mean, you got to give them credit. I mean, they do have a few extra days to prepare for this game because they just knocked off Tom Brady in Tampa Bay 10 days ago. So now they have to go on the road and play in Carolina, and Teddy Bridgewater's got them believing down there. This Carolina team, it was almost supposed to be kind of a throwaway year, and they were supposed to be a mess, especially without Christian McCaffrey. But Teddy Two Gloves has it going on, and he's making a lot of believers down in Charlotte. So we're going to take Carolina, and we're going to lay the point, which is basically a pick 'em. So, we don't like to lay the point. We'll take them on the money line and go from there. Finally, actually a couple more. Tampa Bay +1 at Green Bay. Now, here's the thing. The media all week long, anybody you listen to is just hyping this as Brady versus Rodgers. Brady versus Rodgers. I'm so sick and tired of that narrative, right? There's so much more to this game than Brady versus Rodgers. The way that Green Bay runs the ball, right? The way that Green Bay gets after the quarterback, right? The way Tampa Bay stops the run, right? Tampa Bay's secondary, right? There's so many more layers to this game. Chris Godwin is back for Tampa Bay. We like Tampa Bay. When's the last time Tom Brady has lost 2 games in a row? Doesn't happen very often, especially when you give him a few extra days to prepare for the blunder where he forgot what down it was against the Bears. We just don't see it, and they're at home. So we'll take the point, we'll take the gift, and watch Tampa Bay beat Green Bay and not watch Brady beat Rodgers. We're going to watch Tampa Bay beat Green Bay in the Battle of the Bays. Kansas City -4.5. We think the defending champs bounce back strong. Yes, they're playing at Buffalo. Now, these were both undefeated teams last week, and both teams are coming off a loss. Buffalo lost to Tennessee, and Kansas City just, inexplicably laid an egg at home against the Raiders. And, you got to give Tennessee and the Raiders both credit because they both played really well. But this is still the Chiefs, and I'm still not sold on the Bills. They're probably a playoff team. They're going to probably win the East, the AFC East. And they're a good team, don't get me wrong, but No, not yet. They're probably still a year away. The defense is good, and Allen is still improving. And if they can get more help with the running game, then they're going to be very dangerous. But until then, Mahomes ain't going to lose 2 in a row. Mahomes is going to bounce back strong. Chiefs win this one easily. Finally, last game of the week is part of the Monday night game. That Kansas City Buffalo game is the early game on Monday night because there's a doubleheader on Monday night because of all the COVID testing and the moving around of the schedules. But the late game on Monday night is Arizona -1 at Dallas. We like the Cardinals. Dallas, Dak Prescott or not, doesn't matter because Dak Prescott didn't play defense. And guess what? Neither do the Dallas Cowboys. Neither does anybody on the Dallas Cowboys. After a red-hot start, Arizona hasn't really played well the last couple weeks, but Kyler Murray is the man. He's unbelievable, and he's got a stable of wide receivers that he can get the ball to, and if not, he can just take off and run. Now, as much as we like Andy Dalton and think of him as arguably the best backup in the league, he's more than capable of taking this Dallas offense and scoring some points, but they're going to have to score in the 40s to win this game, and that's not going to happen because Arizona's going to score early and often and get the win. So those are your picks. That's your show for the week. Again, if you're catching us on the link from the Grease is the Word newsletter, please hit subscribe. We'll have another video that comes up in just a couple of days on Friday. But in the meantime, if you're going to win big, don't forget you got to bet big. Finally, I'm Stony signing out, telling good luck to you.